To preface this, me, female 23 years old, and my cousin male 25 years old, have always been really close. We are both only children and grew up 3 houses down from each other. When we were younger, we started this tradition of having movie marathons once a month because we're both huge nerds. Today, we live about an hour away from each other in different cities, but we've kept up with our tradition. We take turns holding a movie marathon day and night, and this time it was my cousin's turn to host it. My cousin lives in a 3-room apartment with his girlfriend, female, 26 years old, and I've always gotten along with her as far as I'm aware. This would be the first time she was home during one of our marathons, but I didn't mind if she joined us. Like I said, I thought we were good. It was that time of month for me, but I didn't think much about it. I had pads with me and I had my own bedding at my cousin's place, as well as a towel to sleep on in case of an accident. I usually sleep on the couch in my cousin's office when I visit, so no big deal. The day went great. We had decided to watch some Star Trek, but his girlfriend would check in on us from time to time, although she stated that she wasn't a fan of sci-fi. The morning after, I was woken up by yelling and quickly got up to see what was going on. Turns out the girlfriend had found one of my used pads in the bathroom trash can, and she wasn't happy about it. She came at me quite aggressively and asked why I hadn't told her that I was on my period, and how gross it was that I just threw my pads in the trash. Now, I'm not the most zen person, so I did raise my voice at her and asked her what the frick she was talking about and why it was such a big deal. She started crying, and even though my cousin didn't ask me to, I felt I should leave. I took an early train home, and now I'm sitting in my apartment getting bombarded by messages. I've gotten some harsh texts from the girlfriend's friends, and even a couple of family members telling me I should have told her I was on my period, and I was a jerk for yelling at her and making her cry. I've been known to be pretty ignorant when it comes to social cues and norms, so I might be completely wrong in this. But I wanted to get some opinions from some strangers on the internet before I do any apologizing. So, am I the idiot? Update. I talked with my cousin and he explained what happened before I woke up. Apparently his girlfriend had asked him if he knew I was on my period because she had seen my pad in the trash can. Yes, I wrapped it up before throwing it away. My cousin said something like, "Oh, that's why I hogged all the chocolate. We should have some painkillers if she needs them, but knowing me, she probably brought a whole pharmacy with her." This set his girlfriend off. Apparently she asked him why he was okay with that and why he was so casual about it. He replied that it's not like it's something weird and unnatural. That's when she started screaming and when I came out. Some more info. 1. Her friends contacted me through Facebook Messenger, so they don't have my number. 2. The trash can had a lid on it. 3. The family members that reached out to me about the situation aren't people I'm very close to. 4. My cousin's at work right now, but he said he will have a discussion with his girlfriend once he gets home and get back to me later. Update 2. First things first, holy shoot, I did not expect this many people reading this, and even though I can't read every comment, I really appreciate it. So, some of you in the comments already pointed it out, but it wasn't really about me having my period. The girlfriend confessed she was jealous of our movie marathons and that she thought it was childish. Apparently she also somehow convinced herself I was hooking up with my cousin in some way, which, some of her friends had pointed out how weird it was for me and my cousin, a man and a woman, to meet up that often and spend the night together. I'm not really sure what she was smoking because, first of all, we're cousins, and second of all, she has met my current girlfriend. Yes, folks, I'm 100% a homosexual, so even though I can admit my cousin is quite a catch, I'm not interested in that kind of fish. I'm not really sure what she hoped to achieve by bringing my period into it, but she and my cousin had a huge fight, and she left to stay with her parents for a while. My cousin assured me our monthly movie marathon nights would continue, but he needed some time to sort himself and this situation out. P.S. I sent him a link to this post so he could read the comments. Some more info. 1. English is not my first language, so yes, there will be some spelling errors. 2. I get it now that I wasn't a jerk, but I have autism and ADHD. I've made some major mistakes with social cues and norms in the past, and it always makes me really nervous and insecure when people say I did something wrong. 3. Everyone who sent me a bad message about this situation has been blocked because, unlike them, I don't have time for their shoot. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. WTF, were you supposed to be isolated in your tent with the red rag by the flap or something, instead of watching a Star Trek marathon? Indeed, what was she going on about? Of course you threw your pad in the trash can, that's where it goes. Even if you didn't wrap it in some tissue and it was placed in the bathroom refuse like a cherry on top, and there is no indication at all that it was, and that would have been kinda gross, there is no call to be awakened by yelling about it. WTF, the woman needs to get a grip. Not the idiot, but a hasty retreat from the yelling and crying GF did seem in order. And WTF, her flying monkeys are bombarding you with texts that you should have told her that you were on your period. In what civilized world would that be any of her damn business? Nobody has ever told me there is an unspoken rule that I would ever need to inform my host or anybody else if it was my time of the month. I thought maybe you had bled on the sofa or something. OP, you are fine. The rest of the people in this situation are not. Comment 2. Nobody other than the person I'm in a relationship with shares this sort of information with me, like ever. And my understanding is that the little bin in the bathroom, where I throw away used toothpaste tubes and other bathroom refuse, is primarily for women's sanitary products, as they don't flush. That is its purpose. If I had a guest and they left a sanitary product on top with the lid off and it grossed me out, I would empty the trash and never mention it because I'm a decent member of society and period shaming is unacceptable by at least a century. Your problem is, your cousin's girl does not like you. She has found a way to object to you without admitting what lame, jealous nonsense is actually eating her up. Tell ye flying monkeys that your culture gave up period huts several generations ago. It is considered rude in your culture this century to ask women about their menstrual cycle, and that the yelling was done by her, and they are very much on the wrong side of this argument. Comment 3. Okay, I'm not exactly up to speed on what girl code or female etiquette entails, and maybe this is just my male brain not understanding, but somehow it never once in my over 30 years of existing crossed my mind that it would be considered normal or expected to greet someone with, "Good afternoon, how do you do?" Oh, so you're aware I'm on my period right now. I mean, I've had girlfriends tell me before, but that was concerning a specific context that was a little bit more than just staying overnight for a movie marathon. Not the idiot now for the update. It was awkward. Our monthly movie marathons were on pause, and I genuinely missed hanging out with my cousin. Here's where it gets surprising. His girlfriend actually reached out to me. She sent me a long message where she apologized for her behavior. She admitted she was struggling with some major insecurities and that her reaction was out of line. She confessed that she'd started therapy to work on these issues and that she realized her actions had hurt not only me but my cousin as well. She asked if we could meet up and talk it out in person. I was hesitant, but I agreed. After all, everyone deserves a second chance, right? We met at a local coffee shop and it was actually really nice. She was sincere in her apology and we ended up talking for hours about everything and nothing. It turns out we have a lot in common, and her jealousy wasn't about me specifically, but about feeling left out. Fast forward a few months and things have dramatically improved. My cousin and his girlfriend are doing better than ever. It seems like working on her issues has improved their relationship too. And get this, she even joined us for one of our movie marathons. It was a bit awkward at first. Everyone was treading lightly, but by the end of the night we were all laughing and joking like no drama ever happened. As for the family and friends who sent those negative messages, some have reached out to apologize after hearing about the positive turn of events. Others remain blocked because, well, life's too short for that kind of negativity. Most importantly, my cousin and I have picked up our movie marathon tradition again, and now, once in a while, we have an extra person on the couch, cheering on our favorite characters and sharing in our inside jokes. It's a small change, but it feels like a big step forward for all of us. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot for giving your cousin's girlfriend a chance to make amends and including her in your movie marathons. It's commendable that you were able to see past the initial conflict and recognize her efforts to improve herself by seeking therapy. By extending forgiveness and showing a willingness to move past the previous disagreements, you've fostered a more inclusive and understanding family environment. It also seems like your cousin's relationship has benefited from this, which is a positive outcome for everyone involved. It's a mature approach to recognize that her previous behavior was influenced by her insecurities and not hold it against her indefinitely. The fact that some family and friends have apologized shows that they too have come to see the situation in a new light, which is a testament to your leadership in reconciliation. Comment 2. Not the idiot for working towards resolving the tension with your cousin's girlfriend and helping her integrate into the family dynamic. It takes empathy and strength to open up a dialogue after a period of silence, and it's impressive that you both took the time to understand each other's perspectives. The situation highlights the importance of communication in overcoming misunderstandings and the significant role that mental health can play in interpersonal relationships. Your story serves as a reminder that with effort and patience, relationships can heal, and it's possible to turn a negative situation into a positive one. It's also noteworthy that you didn't pressure the others who had sent negative messages to apologize, allowing them to come to that decision on their own, which is a respectful and non-confrontational approach. Comment 3. Not the idiot for choosing to accept your cousin's girlfriend's apology and making an effort to include her in family traditions. You demonstrated a great deal of compassion and understanding by giving her the opportunity to explain her behavior, and by recognizing the positive changes she's made through therapy. It's a significant step to rebuild a relationship that had previously been strained, and it shows your commitment to family unity and personal growth. Additionally, your story is a reminder that everyone has the capacity for change, and by supporting her journey, you've likely contributed to a healthier dynamic not just between the two of you, but within the larger family circle as well. It's a valuable lesson that sometimes an individual just needs a supportive environment to overcome their challenges and be their best self. Now for the next story, so I will try to keep it short. My ex and I had issues and we are divorced. One of the big ones was he thought he was a great father. But in reality, as I just presented him as that, if I planned a whole party, I would say it was from both of us. He would forget and then piggyback off all my work. My son's birthday is this weekend, and I had the kids and did a party, got the gifts and so on. Now halfway through the day, since there was no call from him to wish our kid a happy birthday, it became obvious that he forgot. He absolutely noticed by the end of the day and was quite sad. I told him he will be seeing him tomorrow and maybe he has a surprise. Well, nothing. He didn't plan a thing and he only remembered after our son basically yelled at him for forgetting. We got in a huge phone argument about me being petty, that I didn't throw his name on a card or even remind him when it was clear he forgot. I don't see why I should, since he is a grown adult and he should step up. He thinks I'm a huge jerk. My mum got involved and told me I should have, for my kid's sake. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot, and I suggest you show your mother the top comments here. You and your ex are divorced, therefore you have no obligation to keep the peace or make him seem like a good father when he isn't. If he can forget his kid's birthday and then fail to do anything while expecting you, his ex, to do it for him, it just shows how poor of a father he is. My great-grandfather used to hide how neglectful my father was. I didn't realise how horrible he was until I was 14 years old, a few months after my grandpapa passed, that my father had never once been involved in planning my birthday, buying the cards, the decor, or even the locker surprises that would say, "From Dad." To this day I hold some resentment towards my grandpapa for that, and resentment towards myself, because I was giving the wrong person credit for years. Don't be guilted into keeping up the charade. Your son will get older, and he'll probably have the same resentment, maybe less, but it'll be there. Comment 2, not the idiot. When I was in college one year, I forgot my little brother's birthday, and he was very upset with me. None of the adults in our family mollycoddled me and reminded me to call him. They just let me deal with the consequences and apologise to him. I was 19 at the time, and I've never forgotten his birthday since. I know it's just a single anecdote, but every adult in my life thought a teenager was perfectly capable of remembering a birthday and should face the consequences of being thoughtless. It's pathetic that your ex's mum doesn't think her son is capable of the same. ETA. Wasn't the ex's mother, it was OP's mother. Comment 3. Not the idiot. You are divorced. You're no longer responsible for managing your ex's life. The fact that he still thinks that you are shows how used to you doing everything he is. Your ex needs this wake-up call to tell him that you are no longer responsible for him, and your mother is wrong. If you keep covering for him, you will be doing it for the rest of your life and will never be divorced from him because he will never do it. After all, he gets someone to do all the heavy lifting of being a parent for him. Let him think you are a jerk. Chances are he was going to anyway the moment you stood up for yourself for anything. Now for the update. I never thought I'd be back here with an update, but life has a way of throwing curveballs. In the weeks following my last post, I hoped things would somehow change, but they've taken a turn for the worse. My ex, who already wasn't involved much, has fallen off the radar entirely. Our child, who's been trying to cope with the situation, asked if we could try calling to invite them for a weekend visit. It was a moment of hope, a chance for my ex to step up. Unfortunately, it ended in a heartbreak. My ex answered, heard our child's voice, and for a moment, I saw a glimmer in my kid's eyes that maybe this time would be different, but excuses poured out of the phone like a flood. I'm swamped at work. I've got plans I can't change, and the one that shattered my child's spirit. You need to understand that adults have important things to do. I watched the light in my child's eyes dim, replaced by a quiet understanding beyond their years. Then, as if to add insult to injury, my ex had the audacity to later accuse me of coaching our child to make the call, as if I had used our child as a pawn to guilt them. The conversation escalated, and they blurted out that perhaps it was better if they stepped away for a while to avoid causing more disappointment, as if their absence wouldn't be a disappointment on its own. Since then, calls have gone unanswered, and texts sit in the digital void, seen but not replied to. My child is starting to ask questions I don't have the heart to answer. Why doesn't Daddy want to see me? Did I do something wrong? Every part of me aches to fix this, but I can't make someone care. I find myself grasping at straws, trying to explain in the gentlest way possible that this isn't their fault. Amidst this, my own mother still insists I should bridge the gap, maintain the connection for the sake of our child. But how do you maintain a connection that barely exists? How do you protect your child from the reality that their other parent is becoming a stranger to them? The loneliness and confusion our child feels weighs heavily on me. I'm doing my best to be both parents, but I see the void left behind. Some nights, after I tuck them in, I hear soft sobs from their room. The resilience of my child is both inspiring and heartbreaking, and as for me, I'm exhausted. Exhausted from trying to compensate for an absence I have no control over. Exhausted from trying to be strong when I feel anything but, and exhausted from holding back tears when I see old photos of happier times. I'm trying to keep it together, but there are moments when I'm afraid I'll crumble. I wish I had better news to share, but this is our reality right now. I'm holding on to hope that one day my ex will realize what they've lost and make an effort to be present. But for now, I'm focused on being the best parent I can be, even if it means doing it alone. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Your dedication to your child's well-being and emotional health is commendable. You're in a very tough spot, trying to balance your child's hope to have a relationship with their other parent against the reality of their lack of involvement. It's clear that you're trying to do what's best for your child, and that includes not speaking ill of their other parent, despite the hurt and disappointment you both feel. It's unfortunate that your ex is accusing you of manipulation when you're simply trying to facilitate a relationship between them and your child. You're doing all you can to be a supportive parent, and it's not your fault that your ex is choosing not to be involved. Your mother's advice to keep a connection is well-intentioned, but it takes two to maintain a relationship. It's not fair for you to carry all the emotional labor and manage your child's expectations alone. It might be helpful to seek out a counselor or therapist who can help you and your child navigate these complex emotions and the difficult reality of the situation. Comment 2. Not the idiot. The situation you're describing is heartbreaking, and it sounds like you're doing your utmost to protect your child from the pain of an absent parent. It's important to remember that you can't force someone to be a parent if they're not willing to step up to the plate. Your ex's behavior is irresponsible and hurtful, not only to you but more importantly to your child. It's clear that you've tried to keep the door open for them, but there's only so much you can do. The accusation of manipulation is baseless and seems to be a deflection of their own guilt for not being present. While it's important for children to know their parents, it's equally important for them to have stable and reliable figures in their lives. If your ex is unable to provide that, it might be healthier in the long run to adjust expectations and focus on the family and friends who do show up consistently for your child. Remember that a healthy single-parent household can be far more nurturing than a two-parent scenario where one is disengaged or unreliable. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Your situation is an incredibly difficult one, and it's clear that you are doing everything within your power to be a rock for your child in the face of your ex's neglectful behavior. It's natural for you to feel a mix of disappointment and protectiveness when your ex fails to show up time and again. The reality is that you cannot control your ex's actions, only how you respond to them. Your ex's accusations of manipulation are not only unfounded, but also add insult to injury, given the context. It's crucial, though, that you take care of yourself amidst this turmoil. You can't pour from an empty cup. Seeking support from friends, family, or a professional could help you process your feelings and prevent burnout. As you focus on being the best single parent you can, remember that your child will grow to see and appreciate the love and stability you provide, which is ultimately what will shape their understanding of family and commitment. Now for the next story. My wife passed away 3 years ago and she owned really expensive jewelry. In total, I would think it cost more than $100,000. A lot is passed down and she would save for years to buy an expensive piece. My daughter, who is 27 years old, is bad with money. She works on commission, so her cash flow is different each month. One month she makes a ton and the next she is broke and sells what she bought last month. She will spend all her money and then have to sell to make ends meet next month. I have tried to get her to be responsible with money, but she is an adult and there isn't much I can do. I have watched this dance for years. She called me up and asked when she can take her mum's jewellery. I told her I would prefer to keep it at my home. This started an argument about how I am not using it. I told her she will never get her jewellery unless she changes. That I would prefer to keep it in a box, then let her sell it when she messes up her money again. She called me a jerk and my wife's family is getting involved. Edit, since it was asked a lot, everything went to me when she passed. Daughter has no claim on them and I would hand them over if she wouldn't sell them. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. As per your earlier comment, it's all in your name. You have every right to have your say. I'm sure there is a lot of sentiment attached to your wife's jewellery, and your daughter doesn't appear to be, at least presently, the type to appreciate it for what it is. Don't let anyone persuade you otherwise. If your daughter gets her hands on any of it, it's going to be gone and sitting in a pawn shop somewhere. Comment 2. Not the idiot. The jewellery clearly has meaning to you and your daughter has proven to be a liability. I view this the same as if she was an addict. She'll likely plan or sell the jewellery regardless of how you feel. It's also a substantial gift to give. Tell her the jewellery can be hers when you pass for the time being, but regardless of if it's being used or not, it's yours to do with however you see fit. Comment 3. You're absolutely correct by not giving it to your daughter. Please do not cave into outside pressure. The odds of her selling your wife's sentimental jewellery are pretty high. Is she your only child? I would wait and see if she finally grows up and takes her financial responsibility seriously. If not, I would give the jewellery to any future grandchildren. Now, for the update. I wish I could say things have gotten better, but they haven't. About a week after my last post, my daughter lost her job. She said it was due to layoffs, but I can't help but think her performance and money issues played a part. Either way, she didn't have any savings to fall back on, and the calls started coming in. First from her, then from bill collectors. She came over to my place yesterday, and I could see the desperation in her eyes. It broke my heart. She told me she's been couch surfing after getting evicted, and that she hasn't eaten a proper meal in days. My daughter, the little girl who used to run around the house giggling, was now sitting in front of me, gaunt and on edge. I offered to help her with a budget and find a financial advisor, but she just shook her head. Then she asked again for her mother's jewellery. "Dad, it's just sitting there. It could help me get back on my feet," she pleaded. But I stood firm, even though every part of me wanted to give in. I did, however, give her some money to help her out, under the condition she would seek help for her financial problems. I've never felt so torn. I feel like I'm dishonouring my wife's memory by letting her daughter suffer, but I also know that handing over the jewellery wouldn't solve the underlying issue. And it would certainly be gone forever, turned into a few months' rent and groceries, leaving nothing but regret in its wake. I don't recognise my daughter anymore. She's become someone who's willing to sever ties over material things. Her aunt, my sister-in-law, won't talk to me now, convinced I'm the villain in all this. I've lost a wife, and now I feel like I'm losing my daughter too, all over a collection of metal and stones that sit in a safe, symbols of a happier past that seem to be tearing the present apart. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. It's clear from your account that you're in a difficult position, wanting to help your daughter while also honouring the memory of your late wife. The jewellery, as a sentimental token, holds significant emotional value, and it's understandable that you'd be reluctant to part with it. Offering financial assistance to your daughter is a commendable alternative and shows your willingness to support her during this tough time. It's also responsible to ask that she seeks help for her financial problems, as it suggests you're not just providing a short-term solution, but are also concerned about her long-term financial well-being. While it might seem harsh to your daughter and sister-in-law, preserving these keepsakes can be important for keeping the memory of a loved one alive, and it is not unreasonable to want to hold on to them, especially if you are still providing other forms of assistance. Comment 2. Not the idiot. The decision to keep your late wife's jewellery is a personal one and reflects a deep emotional connection to your past and to the memory of your wife. It's worth considering, however, the practical aspect of the jewellery's worth. If the jewellery is not going to be used and is instead kept away, its value is only sentimental. Although it's difficult, it might be helpful to have a conversation with your daughter about the significance of the jewellery to see if a compromise can be reached. Perhaps there's a piece that holds less sentimental value that could be given to her. Nevertheless, it's crucial to remember that your primary role as a parent is to ensure the well-being of your daughter, and if you're providing alternative means of support, you're fulfilling that role. It's also important to address the underlying issue of your daughter's financial management, as this will empower her to make sustainable changes in her life. Comment 3. Not the idiot. You are faced with a tough decision, but your response was compassionate and considered, showing a balance between emotional and practical concerns. The jewellery is more than just an asset. It's a part of your family history and your connection to your wife. It's reasonable to want to preserve it for its sentimental value and as a keepsake for future generations. Your offer to provide financial assistance to your daughter is generous and shows that you are not leaving her without options. The rift that this situation is causing is regrettable, but it's also an opportunity for open dialogue within the family about the importance of both emotional and financial inheritance. It may also be a chance to discuss the sentimental value of family heirlooms, ensuring that all parties involved understand the full weight of what is at stake when considering selling such items. Your insistence on financial counselling is a step towards helping your daughter build a stable future, one that doesn't rely on the liquidation of family treasures. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.